It's time once again for another chapter of The Rich Hart Show, broadcasting live around the world from the Pro Business Channel studios in Atlanta. And now, please welcome your host, international business dynamics coach, real estate broker, and wealth finance and people consultant, Rich Hart.
Hey, guys. How you doing out there? Hey, long time no see. All righty. But, hey, today is going to be a very, very exciting show for you. So thank you very much for joining in. And we do have some special guests with us today. These are some longtime friends of mine. I hope they're friends. I paid them off pretty dearly.
Well, did the check clear? Did the check clear or was it cash? Did I miss it?
Check cleared, babe. Check cleared, without a doubt. Thank you very much. But, hey, in the studio today with us in this particular, we're going to call this the special show, the Change Show, guys. And as the Change Show is the opportunity for, actually, first our guest, Michael Moore. Michael Moore, thank you very much for joining us today.
Pleasure to be with you. It's been a good journey so far. Let's make sure the trip works.
Superb. And additional, Rich Casanova.
He's in the building once again.
Oh, imagine that, right? Right up on the 21st floor of Serendipity.
It is amazing, right? So we're excited to be here on your show. I think this is the first time we've appeared other than the inaugural show.
Pretty much so. You guys always stood in the foregrounds.
Yeah.
Tremendous. Folks themselves, what a tremendous group of people. And Foster, we got to say hello to Foster.
Hello, Foster. There he is.
Foster, our sound guy, man.
Wave at the camera there, dude.
Managing the sound. There he is. Good. Thank you. Rich, today is a change show, and I've asked both of you guys to come on today because today we're probably going to do something just a little different. We've done many shows, brought many different types of talent, many different individuals, and that was the goal of the show. The goal of the show for the Rich Hart Show was to bring in some really unique, talented folks that were able to carve out niches and really develop a very unique perspective to bring business.
You've had from pastors to presidents in the studio.
Isn't that cool? And for people themselves that really disaster relief all the way up. I mean, we've had some great, and we've had some funny people too as well.
One or two.
Without a doubt. And guys, that won't stop. And we'll talk about that later on too as well. All right. But what I've asked these fine gentlemen to come in and talk with me today is that we're going to talk about Rich Hart. What a crazy topic.
Oh, my goodness.
What a crazy topic else. Because Michael said that there's a lot of people really don't know what I do. So we wanted to get out to the airwaves and talk a little bit about things themselves we're putting together, some unique opportunities we've created. Michael, we were just talking before, you reach a certain age.
That's right.
We hope it's not old.
Yeah. Or not.
We hope it's not
or
old.
not out of age yet.
But we reached
like Michael was saying beforehand, you've reached the age. That's
hopefully I haven't reached it yet.
Yeah.
All right, without a doubt.
We're striving.
But we reached this age to where we really engage, to giving back. And we reach some sort of changes in our world and in our lives. And I've asked Mike and Rich, these guys, they pretty much know me the best, I think.
We have been behind the curtain. Literally.
Found out that it's not that bad, but this man is crazy. All right, so I've asked Mike and Rich to help me out today so we can bring to our viewers and our podcast listeners out there what this whole idea of Rich Hart is. Rich is now taking a new dimension, a new level of change. All right, so we can just expound a little bit.
Well, yeah. Speaking of that, let's talk about your business journey, this lifetime experience. You've traveled around the country, around the world, speaking engagements and so forth.
Sure.
You've had talk to us about, if you can be kind of honest and transparent, what are some of those successes and failures along those roadways and trailways?
Oh, so you really want to hit the failures too as well.
Let's jump right into it.
Yeah, gotcha. I love to engage, and Mike and Rich, you guys know me for this, is that I love to engage with people, all right, whether it be on one-on-one, or whether it would be in groups or large settings, small settings, group settings, whatever it is. I love to engage in people in today's dynamics. What's happening in today's top trends? What's happening with the business? Or what's happening with engagement of financial? What's happening in the engagement of real estate? What's happening just in how people themselves are looking at leadership and performance? And I had the opportunity itself to run around the entire globe already and really engaging just my past experience, things themselves that I've done, all right, or that I've grown up with. We can all say we have a story. And my story was pretty rough.
What have you seen from the early days to today when you first put your toe in the water of speaking and traveling and so forth, between technology and how organizations have changed and towards what they're asking of you as a speaker?
The whole level of identification is really different now. All right, individuals are really focused down. And individuals who have a certain skill, something that they bring to the table that's no other or hasn't been done by anybody else, and which led me into a lot of my life journey. Mike, we talked about earlier, Rich, we talked about so many different things. People ask me all the time, so what do you do? And I was like, well, I do just about a lot of things. When I find the engagement, I remember an individual coming up to me and it says, you seem to be the jack of all trades and master of none. And when they said that early to me on, I said, I'm 18 years old. And it would give me the life, or give me the opportunity to learn as much as I possibly can. And if I get that opportunity to expound on really being the best I can possibly be, hopefully I can get there someday, And so which led me down my roads of focus.
Well, we not going to get to focus
no,
yet. We're going to
yet.
save that for a minute. We want to talk about the big picture. I think it's a shotgun for a minute. Now, you talk about where we bumped into each other, how we work with each other and look at process.
Right.
You and I have bumped into each other in a couple of different industries here in Atlanta marketplace. And, of course, then you've gone off to everywhere from Thailand to Germany, everywhere. I've just stayed here in Atlanta, so I just watch you kind of circle. It's like the moon rising. Last night we had a beautiful moon rising. I'm thinking of Rich Hart.
That was you at the Atlanta airport waving to me as I came up the escalator.
Yeah, I'm one of your heroes.
He looked like E.T. going over the moon. But yeah.
That bicycle was a little worn, though.
My gosh,
guys, so can we focus here?
Okay, gotcha.
All right, we'll go back to
the agenda right here.
We're going to get down there. But, the many different industries you participate in, that's where a lot of people look at, from a real estate standpoint to a national speaking standpoint to a government contractor to just a heck of a nice guy. You're doing some fun things here in the city and your spiritual background, your relationships with people out in the north section of our city, and even looking at new businesses. So I'm not going to take you down all those, but talk about some of the major functional changes you've made in your last 40 years of executive privilege.
Here's the funniest thing, Mike. I believe everybody has some sort of story, content, humor, and entertainment in their life.
Content, humor, and entertainment.
Story,
you
content, humor, and entertainment. All right? And we all love and how we utilize and how we bring those things out really gives us the opportunity to expound on what is it we really want to accomplish. Maybe I'm still trying to grow up. I don't know.
Well, people do ask, what's Rich Hart going to do when he grows up?
That's if he grows up. When you start taking a look at those areas of sales, that was extremely important to me. Where and how can I pull out story? My story of sales is very unique, like Rich's, like your story. We all have unique story, but the content we bring and the level of opportunity we bring through humor and how people engage and how people learn, especially through entertainment. And those are the things themselves in today's and really looking at skills, knowledge, tools, and resources. All right, for individuals, I really had to take a look at this, and this was me, and that's why we mentioned out there that I kind of danced in a lot of forums, but because of the fact that I just wanted to engage, I had the opportunity to sell. I'm probably one of the guys out from a focus standpoint, which we'll get to, but from the focus standpoint, I'm probably one of the guys themselves that if I really wanted it, all right, if I really want it, I have to own it, and if I really want to own it, I need to take possession of it. And so the only one that could possibly be able to get it, all right, is myself. So I engaged all 10 fingers and all 10 toes, okay?
You're an all-in kind of guy, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just if I didn't really get it or didn't really understand it, then I did what I needed to do, all right, to get the answer, all right, so I can carry it on to the next level. And so I can learn. I'm constantly learning, guys.
So these are capitalizing on the experiences that some people kind of ignore or don't take advantage of. So talk about some of those things that you've seen in the last 10 or 15 years as you've watched the business change, because you didn't just come up with this focus idea for your part of your life, and we'll get to that in a minute. But how did you begin to identify some of these things which you really could reinforce and reuse, as well as begin to, as you say, train and entertain?
Yeah, sure. When you start taking a look at the journey, I guess that's where we're heading to. We're heading to the journey already. It was complex. It was a very complex journey. All right, and so leading into today and what today's environment, generations are changing, people are changing, how they see things, how they interact, how technology has made a giant size leap forward, already from social sites to webinars to podcasts to radio. We talk about radio all the time, which is now starting to get us into, we'll talk a little bit about TV and more advanced levels of really getting message out. I think that's the major change. And I knew as a baby boomer, if I didn't get on that boat, all right, I would
left behind.
Yeah. I would be left behind.
To the dock.
Same thing. And when you take a look at the rest of the industries out there, Mike, so finance or real estate or business, or when you take a look at just the surrounding areas of self, everybody engaging in the type of business they do, there is a uniqueness that everybody brings in. And my journey was to really find out what that uniqueness was all about. And so I engaged. I'm the guy that really learned how to plug in a hammer.
You can plug in a hammer?
You can plug in a hammer,
Really?
believe it or not.
Of course you can. That's what the impact wrench is for.
But that's the engagement. And I want just to be constantly engaged. And it's funny, I do all these things, and I'm running all over the place, and people say, well, how did you learn this? So you pick it up, and things themselves. I'm a sponge for education. And there's many people themselves in the speaking forum, my industries, individuals themselves that I work with day in and day out. They say, Rich, you're just a crazy man. And I says, yeah, it's a label. I don't know if I should take the label or not. But here it is. It's just I engage in already today's business practices and what's going on. I think that's the change. Where things themselves were done years ago, all right, where we didn't have computers, all right, we didn't have the right phones. Remember the phones themselves, the technology of phone, all right, was carry this big black box around, and then you can be mobile.
With a circular cord, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And take a look at it now, all right, where the technology, remember the beeper world, okay, where all the beepers, beep, 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 and all of a sudden out of nowhere, but now we're in phones. Take a look, we're Facebook Live, okay?
But you're getting instructions from that beeper, from that boss.
Exactly.
Now you have to interpret, and that's one of the things I've watched about you is you, quote, learn things.
Yeah.
You learn things, you apply things, you reinforce things, and you also then teach others.
Sure.
So, the first time you looked at a cell phone, you go, that's a whole different story. But now we have classes. And when you talk about video and television and audio and all these things that you've been able to use, it all goes back to converting that story to something that people understand. So talk about how you've developed your teaching technique and your leave behind story.
I love that, Mike. Communication is a big thing with me, and the communication network to reaching out to people and really developing a one-on-one is extremely important. Now, guys, I'm going to tell you itself, I failed many times. And I'm still trying to get there.
Let's just hope today's not one of them.
I don't think so. I hope not. All right.
Do you have a list of those handy?
No, definitely not. Thank you very much for bringing that up, Rich. Okay, they are in the back seat of my truck. Okay, but here's the thing too, as well, is that I believe, Mike, to add to what you were saying before, I believe in what we call the receive, retain, release. All right, and that what we call the 3R principle. And this receive, retain, release is receive it in for your learning, retain it for your understanding, and then release it out to as many others so they can engage in the concept, all right, so they can teach others. I believe we're in a teaching and communications world, all right, and sometimes we don't do as well as we should in the communication. And I think, Mike, what really would happen out there is I took communication very, very seriously. All right, and now, unfortunately, itself, we look at the macro and micro sides, whether you're a leader or a follower, whether you take a look at your innovator or a problem solver. I mean, there's tons of different ways of really taking a look at this. But the engagement out there, for me, it was more from the communication and what I have to do in order to reach people on a different level. And I believe this, I truly believe, it's got to come from experience. And so what I'm doing is I'm coming directly in from experience out here to really bring everything to life. And hopefully that experience themselves is able to change somebody along the way.
I love the receive, retain, release formula because I think that can apply in several areas of your life, right? A lot of people receive a message or receive an opportunity, but they don't retain it. Just kind of, they miss it, goes in one door, out the other. And then you have people that receive an experience, they retain it, they don't let it go, right? So those people that keep bringing up that problem they had years ago, and they focus on that, and they don't let it go. They don't move forward. They don't release that negative energy. I mean, there's so many different applications. I love this. So in business, do a little deep dive on some other applications of that principle of receive, retain, release. What are some other illustrations of that? Because I think that has a lot of legs to it.
Yeah, I believe that's, and I'm probably going to be heading into the focus side because that receive, and release gives an opportunity. I knew through the communication itself that focus, was a big issue, for a lot of folks. It was a big issue for me too as well. And so I really had to take a look at focus. This is a personal look, personal view of what I think focus is all about, which led me to writing, the first book out here called The Focus of One. And I really had to take a look and really deep dive into what was focus all about. And focus to me, and you've heard it before in my last shows themselves, of focus. I'm a man of acronyms. Okay?
Exactly. Yeah.
But the focus to me was the first opportunity to create unlimited success. And that's what I wanted. I wanted that for myself, and I want that for others. A lot of the people that I engage with, I tell them all the time, I said, if you're in with me 2 hours, 3 hours, you're here for the keynote, you're here maybe for 2 days, okay? If you're spending that time with me, I can spend an eternity with you. And so because that's just part of that receive, retain, release, that I want to give back as much as I possibly can. We get to that giving back cycle. But out of the focus of one, creating that unlimited success, I had to take a look at 5 areas. 5 areas themselves where people really need to engage. All right, and the areas themselves were performance, they were leadership, all right, accountability, which is the 3 main tops, and then the relationship side, and then really taking a look at the adversities.
Well, those are measurable.
Yeah, they are.
And you've got to be paying attention to almost all those all the time. So look at how people are not, as we said earlier about the release part, people are holding things in, internalizing, but they're not focusing on the right parts of what they need to do to develop and improve themselves. So talk about some of those experiences you've had just in the last couple of years since you've been finishing up your journey. or moving down that next journey.
Guys. Is he finished?
We're not finished yet. We're not there. We know that. So
next chapter. Basically, this is like a next chapter in your life in the book, right?
Here's the thing, right, exactly. When I defined adversity, okay, in the book of Focus of One already, and the writing of it, we started taking a look at the challenges, choices, and decisions. All right, and what we did is we broke these areas down, all right, to the point where we can really understand what's going on, all right, when we do have to get into that receive, retain, release. What do we do? All right, how do we get that information out? And so the key ticket for me, it says, well, adversity, if I was to measure adversity, what would adversity look like? Adversity would look like with the challenges, choices, and decisions that one has to make. All right, the challenges that we face day in and day out, the choices that we have to make, all right, with those challenges and the decisions themselves, challenge, choice, and the decisions themselves we're going to make, and is it going to be the right decision or not? And so that's the level of adversity we climb into. But not only from an adversity, I got to take a look at performance and leadership. I mean, what we talk to and what we work with, and the individuals themselves that I work with all the time, are performance-driven people. They're leadership-driven people. So when you start talking about performance out there, it's based by leverage, skills, and the beliefs that someone may carry with them. All right, and so as you start taking a look at even accountability, where individuals themselves, and we're finding even today the level of accountability to reaching, all right, people themselves will lose focus based on accountability. But the accountability, all right, gets me back down to individuals, opportunities, and environments. And what I did is I take a look at these things and how they applied to my life and really brought them into what? Hopefully focus. All right, yeah, because I do a million things doesn't mean I'm not focused. Okay.
At one moment, that's the whole point. The human
all right,
mind,
so it's a million and a half. All
the
right?
human mind cannot really multitask. So you are executing.
You're right. Brain
focus.
can only do one thing at a time. I got you.
Yeah.
So we're not gladiators in a ring with only one thing to do is to come out alive.
No,
we're actually here to improve the process.
Sure.
While we're at it. So you've been certainly doing a great job of improving process for not only real estate marketplace.
Where are the crickets? Who's got crickets? Anybody got crickets?
They're
That's good. Anyway,
They're in the room somewhere.
we'll leave the crickets alone. That's fine. Not a problem. So you were saying?
The walking into the room and the gladiator getting out of the room.
But let me, while we're doing that here, let's go back to your book. So you mentioned this book, Focus of One.
Right.
So who's your audience for that? I had a 2-part question here for you. So who's your audience for that?
Anybody that really wants to get the next level of advantage.
Okay.
Everybody wants to pick up the next level of advantage. What I've done...
Where maybe they've hit a plateau or something?
Yeah, maybe they hit a stopping. Or maybe they don't know where to start. Or maybe you've done it, all right? And you've gotten the free ticket, all right, the get out of jail free card on it.
Yeah, because I think, we're talking about a book. I use the analogy of go back to chapters, right? So in book, in life and business, there's an ebb and flow, and there's chapters in your life, right? And so...
We call that reinventing.
Yeah.
All right?
And
turn the page.
This wasn't really on this wasn't really on the short list, but a lot of people, you mentioned baby boomer earlier,
right?
They're hitting that retirement,
sure,
and there's a lot of stress related to that. A lot of people kind of clock out when they hit retirement because they don't have a game plan. They don't have any what's next, in their life.
Sure. Take a look at it. So just from the fitness level, from the engagement health. All right, today itself. Well, people reach a certain plateau, and itself, I think they expect to get old, and when they expect to get old, they expect not to move as fast as they normally did. All right,
and they're working towards that goal of retirement, but they don't have a next goal.
Yeah, there is no identification. It's funny across the country with the groups I talk to. There's always one piece I always put out there. I says, guys, there's the number one reason why individuals don't do as well as they could in their life, in their business. All right, when it comes down to working with relationships, or working with the levels of accountability, working all those areas, performance, leadership, and self, and inside this focus. And it says one major reason why individuals don't do as well as they could in their lives, not only their lives, in their business or whatever they're doing.
So what's that reason?
It's because people don't plan. Right. They don't plan. There is no plan. There is nothing set in motion. All right, we're shoot from the hip type people. We're fast food environment. Yeah. We want to be able to drive through the drive-through and be able to pick it up Hopefully we can get it at what, maybe a discount, or maybe it's on the dollar menu. Okay.
Well, we set our expectations too low.
Yeah, it comes to the point of managing the expectations, and I think that's what's happening is people don't manage the expectations. We see, if I was to take the real estate industry, for instance, okay, a tremendous amount of individuals that are getting into real estate. You got to figure that the nominal age of the individuals themselves, 56 to 58% of the individual is the median age for today's real estate professional. Right?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That are entering that profession?
The profession.
Wow.
Okay.
At 50,
well, not even entering the profession.
Or just the median age.
Yeah,
currently in the age. Yeah.
Okay. A tremendous amount of millennial influence is now coming in. And so you're
and back to that technology. There's a lot of stuff you can purchase and get your mortgage and from your couch, right?
Exactly.
So you don't necessarily have, or you have additional options, as I say, to go to that realtor, that channel or that funnel, right?
But even take a look.
How's that disrupting?
But even take a look. I mean, take a look at the level of disruption. Okay, and here's the other thing too, as well, is that we even say in the financial service industry, okay, the people themselves are not preparing for or haven't planned, all right, for retirement. Okay, and then when you take a look at the studies and you take a look at everything themselves that I've seen, all right, and through the studies themselves, those individuals living the American dream, okay, they're not even close. They're not even close to getting there, okay, or they really haven't identified what that plan is going to be, all right, to achieving even a portion of it. They just go through life day in and day out.
Unfortunately, that plan changes so quickly.
It changes all the time.
We have little control over that opportunity, but you've got to be planning for the process. You've got to be communicating.
Right. Back
to your communications process.
Sure.
You've got to have some trusted advisors.
Yes.
You've also got to go back and look at that leadership, the accountability, the performance.
Right. Yes.
All those pieces. But if you don't have the relationships with people you can know, like, and trust, is that the way it goes?
Well, here's the thing. Relationships are bound by trust, friendship, and communication. Okay, you got to take a look at the relationship we have. All right, I hate you, Rich. I don't hate you. I'm joking around. I'm joking. We hate Foster. No, I'm joking. We don't do that. No, I'm joking.
Good, Foster.
Here's the thing, so when we take a look at the relationship inside this level of communication is the binder, all right, that holds these together. I got to tell you right now, I failed. I failed miserably. Okay, in my early lives, and I said every once in a while. All right, so this morning I failed miserably. Okay, in communication. All right, and I don't keep on learning, but you
released it.
Go
back to that.
Without doubt.
And hopefully somebody forgave you.
I know I've made a mistake. I know I've made an error here. Okay? But here's the thing itself. When you start taking a look at that relationship, the relationships are bound. It's very important. And to building that level of trust. And trust is tough. Trust is a tough gig.
It's what do they say? It's very tough to gain and easy to lose.
Sure, it is.
Right? You can have one hiccup, and you can, in terms of...
How many attaboys did that just cost me?
Oh, a lot of them.
Right.
I'll tell you, it was attaboy. Yes. Or how many sorries did it cost you? Right,
don't use that word.
No. Okay. But when you start taking a look at the trust factors, all right, you can look at any business, any structure along the lines themselves, and a relationship is probably going to be one of the key pieces. And so as you start to look into the focus, what are the things themselves that are extremely important going forward, when we start taking a look at trust, friendship, and communication, okay? And then in that regards.
We got a lot more topics to cover in less time, but before we go back to focus, I want to go back to the book. This book, Focus of One. What's the timetable for this, or expectation?
We've got now 60 days.
Okay,
and 60 days out already.
Is that for the movie, the screenplay, or the Broadway?
That's the Broadway play, Mike. Thank you very much for bringing that up. All right?
I'd buy a ticket to that. Yeah,
we're just heading into Manhattan today itself to book the venue.
Right,
all right?
So we were talking about the. Who's your audience? Right. Finish with this book of, give us your best sales pitch, if you will, of why I would read this. What's my takeaway?
Its takeaway is that anybody that wants to make a change, okay, that really wants to understand it. We know focus. There are things themselves that I've done in my life when I know that I focused down real hard on them, okay, stuff got done. Okay, and sometimes what we do is we brush over them. And so, if it's motivational, great. If it's inspirational, great. If it's going to help the business leader of today to realize themselves that I've made an error somewhere along the lines, or perhaps maybe I'm missing something in the equation, okay, and identifying those particular areas is going to be extremely important, all right, especially when we get down to really, all right, understanding, all right, why and how come I wasn't successful, or what did I miss, or there's something along. We can go through the entire life. Unfortunately, I had a friend of mine like this, went through his whole entire life. Until he finally realized what he missed, okay, it was too late to even try to regain it. Okay?
So as a reader of this book, if you will, if you're talking to me through the book, are you talking to me as a business owner or as a personal level?
I'm going to talk to you both.
Okay.
Okay? It's going to reach across the spectrum. All right, only because the fact is focus, or let's just put it, success comes in many shapes and forms and fashions.
Right.
All right, and how individuals, you're going to take focus a little differently. Mike, you're going to take focus a little differently. I'm going to take it a little differently. And so what's unique about this itself, it gives us the engagement points, all right, things themselves that we can now start to look in our lives and really start to plan around those items themselves that I may have missed along the way. It's not too late, folks. It's not too late to think about retirement. It's not too late to think about success in your life. All right, and so those things themselves we want to recalibrate, okay, or perhaps maybe reinvent what we said before.
So last question I have in the book, and then we're going to, I think Foster's giving us the wrap-up sign. How much time we got? Yeah.
Dude, you got 20 minutes.
Okay, so
good, superb. I love that.
So let's talk about finishing this focus on one. Remind us the acronym for FOCUS.
Sure. FOCUS is the first opportunity to create unlimited success. Where something that everybody's trying to achieve that, or hopefully can identify it, or maybe can define it. All right, everybody has a level of success being something totally different. All right, so I don't know what your level of success is. I don't know what my level of success is. I'm going to keep on fighting. All right, Mike, we said it before. I says I'm this close, this close from
half a
being
distance
this far away.
Right,
exactly.
As people go back and reevaluate their lives, which most people don't do until it's in their mind too late. It's never really too late to go back and focus on the process.
Never too late.
I know you speak across platforms all over the world to all different types of people, ranging from business owners to, I assume, some people who are less focused in their life, and that's
entrepreneurs.
Entrepreneurs they're less focused, right? They are. They've got an idea, they've got a dream, but they don't really care how it fits into the rest of the puzzle.
Innovators and problem solvers.
And you have the real estate marketplace, you have your contracting marketplace, you have your leadership marketplace. There's just a tremendous amount of people. How do you work through the adaptability of being able to relate and, as you say, communicate to all those different levels of folks? Well,
I often talk about the 10,000-foot level and the 200-foot level. All right, and to really, I think the key out here, especially in communication, is going to be the listening portion, and really to listen to what's going on. There's so much going on around us, Mike, all right, that we really have to kind of adapt down. Okay, I'm going to tell you, I don't know everything. Okay, but if I don't know it, I'm going to find out. All right, and I think
you begin a quest to find it.
Sure, and we're in this world today. Okay, that the information source, the information highway, and to get that information itself is pretty much at our fingertips. And so whatever it is you want to learn, I probably won't go to brain surgery. Okay, I'm not.
Nor piano playing. You
already
can play a keyboard.
Exactly, but I don't know what level it's going to bring me to next. But the engagement of learning is always going to be in my back pocket, pretty much.
I met a fellow this week by phone, introduced, and he was 75 years old, and he said, I've got to wrap up. I've got to go to class. Class? He said, yeah, I take as many college classes as will fit into my schedule.
That's a man who inspires me.
That's right. But that's the kind of people we all need to be, because we need to be learning that process.
Yeah. See, Mike, motivation, when you start talking about motivation, inspiration in people's lives, all right, I believe motivation is a mindset. All right, and how do you change and how you develop the mindset? But also inspiration is an experience. And so as you look at the motivation type of work, because we all got to get up every day, Rich, right? Mike, we'd be able to be able to motivate. Motivation is being the mindset, inspiration is being experience. But if I was to inspire people, all right, by giving them a taste of the experience in order to help them to change their mindset, in order to get them to motivate to do what they need to do. Motivation and inspiration now has a conjoined twin. All right, that gives us opportunity itself to really expound on the skills, knowledge, the tools, the resources, all right, that we can do, that we possess, especially through the entire journey that we did or we had pictured in our life. Things themselves that give us the opportunity to focus, the first opportunity to create that success for ourselves in our environments. But it's amazing. What a great opportunity. I'm humbled. All right.
Well, now you've just gone through a personal change of focus for you and how you perform. I know you've done some great things for the community. You've just taken a trip to Haiti. You've got to really parse your time out. Talk about how you change those directions to accomplish what you want to focus on at a special time.
Multitasking is one of my talents, but we just can't do it as much as we want.
You got to have a whole bunch of teams you can send in different directions.
That's right.
Squirrels. Is that managing squirrels?
Teams, it could be. It's just, I guess, how you manage the nuts, But here's the thing out there is that I take every minute, every moment I possibly can. Alrighty. I also mentioned people themselves. I actually be able to put 9 days in a week. And maybe 465 days in a year. All right, but it doesn't work that way. I manage the time, and I think that comes down to is time management. It's probably one of the most critical areas of today's lives. Do I need downtime? Yeah, I need downtime. All right, but unfortunately, itself, I love what I do. You do what you love what you do. And from a business perspective, all right, it gives me the opportunity to engage, all right, with as many people as I possibly can, all right, and across the spectrum, all right, within the engagement of the skills, tools, now the talents themselves that I can be able to bring to somebody, hopefully, to engage them.
Well, let's talk about that relationship piece. You've got to have people you can count on. You've also got to have people that you understand their performance level. So talk about even just going to speak in a foreign country. Just think about the coordination it takes and the focus it takes for you. But, why are people not as successful doing all these things? People who try to multitask, that's a bad term. People who try to do more than one thing at once. Why do they fail?
There's no plan set in place. There's no plan set in place. We all inspire to do things, okay? I think the inspiration sell point is extremely high. But I say, unfortunately, we all lack on the execution.
Well, now, Rich, you've developed all these different programs and plans and put them in place over the years. Do you have some pivot point in your life you want to share with us about, gosh, I was smart before, but that day I became smarter?
I'm still trying to get there. All right. Well, a good friend of mine told me the other day, he says, I did something very unique yesterday. I said, what was that? And he turned around and he says, I tried doing nothing all day.
Whoa.
So I turned around and I said, wow, that's pretty cool. How'd that work out for you? He says, I don't know. I'm still trying to work it out.
Well, I know you have a lot of influential and special friends who have impacted you. How do you begin to select the people you follow or walk alongside as opposed to the people you avoid and go the other direction?
Yeah, I don't think it's a selection, Mike. I think it's, I believe in PBS. Okay,
PBS. Okay, PBS. Here comes another one of the acronyms.
Here comes an acronym. Foster, hold on tight, babe. All right. PBS is professional brain sucking.
PBS,
okay. Professional brain sucking.
All right.
Basically what it is I want to learn as much as I possibly can. Everybody brings a unique gift. All right. And with that gift comes the story, the content, human entertainment that we opened up with. And if I can have just an opportunity just to engage in a little bit what they do, all right, it's uniqueness. All right, we've met some very, very interesting people together.
Oh, wow.
We've met some very, very interesting people just in our social networks and the individuals that I meet across the country and around the world. Very cool, very cool. And I'm just engaged and thrilled. Even Rich has got an engagement for people that's just totally out of control. And he really wants to learn and really engage in their conversation and what they're doing. And that's me. I don't think there's one particular – there are people in my world, okay, that I would come to say they're mentors. And I believe in mentors. I believe in mentorship. I believe in the individuals themselves of being able to talk and work and develop content and ideas and brainstorm issues out. And I do have those people all the time. But I believe itself is it's the gift of the many, all right, that's enabled to fuel the fire for my motivation and inspiration so I can receive, retain, release it out to as many people as I possibly can. And that's cool. That's a communicator's world. That's a speaker's world. All right, that's an individual who likes to engage with individual, all right, who really wants to learn, grow, or maybe perhaps reach a higher level of plateau, So that's cool.
It's as those people that you build relationships with, that you're able to communicate with, that you're able to call on, that you're able to rely on. So talk about that circle of yours in all these different industries. Isn't it difficult to keep up and catch up?
It is, Mike. It is extremely difficult, okay, because one day itself I'll be speaking to a crowd of business professionals and things of this nature, and then next day itself I'm in the belly of an F-18, all right, and it's tough sometimes, okay, but what I do is I utilize all those skills and talents themselves and resources that I've built all over the many years, and then what I do is I just kind of put them in nice little boxes and on nice little envelopes. I've met some unique people, all right, to doing what they're doing, whether it be in service industries, whether it be in manufacturing. My job itself was actually very early on to restructure. I was a restructuring specialist. My job was to take people out of the red and put them back into the black. It's today between behavioral and cognitive associations, how people really think, grow, and develop in what they do and how they see their job, how they see their life, how they see their business was very engaging to me. All right, and you take a look at some of the early concepts from Mandino. You just take a look at the concepts from Jack Canfield and things of those guys, even earlier back then. Okay, when you start taking a look at some of the engaging communicators that were out there. Okay.
Oh, we've had some tremendous people following now. You have moved around through a lot of process to expose you to a lot of new ideas.
Yeah.
And you've been able to take those from industry to industry. Give us some of those little personal trivets of stories about I know you from the business brokerage arena from when we first had some process there. And you think about somebody trying to sell their business who hasn't planned for it. Let's just go back to that example, because everybody thinks what they have is worth more than everybody else.
That's right, exactly.
The garage sale mentality, I'm going to call it for a moment. Talk about how you engage those type of people and how you've come up with these concepts that actually are transferable between industries.
Here's the thing out there, okay? Let's just take one industry. We'll take one industry.
Pick one.
Let's talk real estate, okay? And when I'm talking to real estate professionals out there and a group of individuals, I turn around and I says, guys, please don't take this wrong, okay? But you're not salespeople, okay? You're not salespeople. You're a glorified order taker. Please don't, my audience crew, all right, real estate professionals, you're still great people. Love you, okay? But you're a glorified order taker. And basically the fact itself, because of the fact what we do, all right, is we find the most ready, willing, able buyer. All right, we're marketing specialists. That's what we do.
The fire's burning. The fire's burning.
We're able to market, and that's what we do. A great real estate professional knows that there is a marketing advantage here. And so what we do is we market to the most ready, willing, able buyer, all right, to bring in those individuals, all right, that are what? Ready, willing, and able, all right, to exchange property, all right, for one person to another. Now, I'm not saying anything. Sales never came out of the equation
right.
out there, okay? But great real estate people, all right, and individuals themselves in that world, okay, you got to be great marketing people. Whether you're on the individual side of really marketing your expertise, skills, natural talents, all right, what you bring to the industry, or how you market for other people's property. And so I think it's a perspective.
It's billboard building. You got to have it ready when they're willing to and available, and you've got to be the professional.
Sure.
So let's talk a little bit about that concept of being the expert.
Sure.
You're certainly in a number of different areas, and you would claim to be well knowledge.
Right.
When we start claiming we're experts, we're in trouble. But thought leadership is one of the things that when you talk about focus, you have now standardized focus through a thought leadership process to go across multiple industries.
Sure.
That's satisfying, right?
To me, yes, without a doubt.
Let's go down that road a little bit.
Because it was taken out of pure experience. All right, and I could be wrong on a couple of these things. All right, these items themselves. All right, they could be mixed matched and things of this nature. But when I really took a deep look already on my story, okay, and the content that came in and the humor itself that I went through in my entire life, all right, and to bring in all those experiences. I really had to say, okay, look, this is where it's going. This is what I see it as. Now, somebody could see it as totally different. Okay, I got you. All right, but these are the challenges themselves that I faced along the way, which gave me the opportunity to really engage. Now, here it is. The book is it was written as a matrix. Okay, it was written as a development piece. Okay, we're pulling a lot of spiritual connotation already, and really understanding how individuals across different sectors. I mean, I had the opportunity to engage different types of sectors: manufacturing, distribution, supply, real estate, finance, business developments, and things. And now, when I looked at all these different facets, all right, what are the areas themselves that these individuals could be lacking, and what did I lack? All right, and it could be misconstrued, all right, somewhere along the lines of saying, well, this guy knows everything, but no, these experiences themselves that I faced along the way. And so that's how this all really got developed, all right, and really started pulling out. Yeah, it's multifaceted, Mike, without a doubt. It comes across many different perspectives. But it's kind of a working guideline, all right, to give you, all right, say, I could be missing this, all right. The crux, the cherry in the pie, all right, is realizing what it is that you need to, work on and develop.
Improve on.
Or maybe put in the plan itself that you're, either afraid to do it, or especially like in technology.
Yeah,
right?
Even grandma's apple pie sometimes needs a little more cinnamon.
Just a little bit more cinnamon.
Because the apples weren't quite ripe enough. Right. So now, you've been working on this book in your mind since you started learning all this stuff.
Pretty much so, yeah.
But how did you come down to decide exactly the structure and when, and now, as you said, just a few more weeks before it's ready, right?
That's the big man above. All right, the big man above puts those thoughts in my head. And it's not something that came into automatically. It's just years and years of development, planning, and pulling out. We all say that we have a book inside of us. Okay,
that's right.
And we all say we have that story itself that really backs up that book, all right, let alone bringing in the humor to write it, all right, the entertainment in itself to put it forth, okay, and the content itself brought from experience.
And the focus to get it done.
Well, that's that. And it's took me a little while, all right, and so it's a life culmination. That's what it is.
True to life, human interest stories.
Yes.
Bundled together to apply to the people listening to them, reading them, or hearing them.
Exactly.
So we're gonna see you on the bestsellers list.
Yeah, but I'd hope so.
And we're gonna have the book launch and the book signings and so forth. So the impact of this book, you want people to blank.
Really be able to walk away with something and say, I've engaged already. I've took charge, and I'm now going to accomplish.
Focus and achieve.
Yeah,
Focus and achieve.
And that's one of the things themselves we did even with the new facility. All right.
I wonder when you're going to get to that new facility part.
I was waiting for Rich to sit down.
No, we got Rich back in the room, but we're winding up our time a little bit. But one of the things over the last year, it's about that long, we've been watching you think, talk, and breathe.
Many times, maybe too often.
Sometimes all at the same time, yeah.
And execute this, and we've certainly had some adversity added into this equation,
exactly.
but you have a phenomenal facility you're going to share some information with us about, and we've even got some events coming up there soon.
We do, without a doubt.
But talk about the build-out of the facility first, yeah.
The facility was put together because of all the culmination over the last 19 and a half, 20 years of me in the industry, being on the road and talking, working, developing resources and businesses and everything else of this. This was a culmination of what people told me we couldn't put together. Okay, or areas themselves that individuals were either very uncomfortable, they weren't in a good learning environment, or anything else of this. So I took all the stops out already, and very early on, and so we developed the confines, the structure of this new facility, this Rich Hart Global Headquarters in Atlanta. And the headquarters itself was a very, very unique compile of 10 fingers and many toes, all right.
Over many hours.
Over many, many hours. We took possession on the new building itself in October 1, 120-day build-out. And the building itself was defined as a complete dynamic resource center, all right, for engaging on the new areas of technology, where we're running radio and TV, we're running podcast, we're running audio, video, and things, and we're running different types of meetings. It's a main stage, lighting, all right, sets, designs, photography, and to really reach out and to really bring message, all right, personal message, all right, to those themselves that really want to hear it. And so it was that dynamic engagement of the facility itself that has never been put together before.
It's truly those one of a kind venue. And it's even limited calling it a venue because it's beyond that, right? but you got
it's a sandbox.
We like to call it a fusion sandbox.
Fusion sandbox, yes, without a doubt.
Google it, yeah.
Fusion sandbox. Gotcha.
But what's interesting about it is that if you see the before pictures, it was just an empty space and a shell or whatever. There was nothing there. And then early on, you were bringing in the rooms.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, talks about the rooms equation.
We've had Chet. We've had Chet on the program too as well. Chet's one of my development partners out there for the real estate side, and we've developed a very, very unique program out there from rooms. And then from rooms, it gives the opportunity to really take a look at building and building materials. Okay, and that was our first ply of looking at this. From there, we're developing now mobile studios.
Yeah.
And from the mobile studios themselves out there, they're developing housing, and then of course that led us into conversations with others themselves in the devastation world.
Right.
All right, to bring housing to people, and which led me down to roads of Haiti, and sort of lead me down to other roads of mission work and things of this nature to bring different types of housing structures into, and it was an extension of what the real estate, but then it developed from there.
Right. And you've actually done a whole episode just on rooms, so people can dial into that and check that out.
Yeah, exactly.
But we got a couple. Now we literally have a few minutes left, so let's talk about the venue one more time.
Sure.
And again, who's your audience there? Who's some people that are currently using the facility, who you anticipate using it, and we want to finish with the event as well.
Speakers, communicators, business professionals, groups, different types of groups themselves. I'll use the facility about 35% of the time because I'm always on the road. But the other 60% of the time is those individuals that want to engage in really bringing their message to life out to the world. All right, we're looking at just outside the Brave Stadium in Atlanta. Okay, a great location out there, 20 minutes from the airport and things like this. But it was a sandbox, and the sandbox to the point itself where sometimes people don't play well in sandboxes with other people's toys. The whole idea of the sandbox here itself was to engage the sandbox where other people bring their toys in. all right, and tell their story.
And we have an event coming up.
Yes, April 4th.
Right. And so this is a open house where we're gonna team up together and invite some people, maybe do a live stream podcast.
We do a live stream show,
right?
Exactly.
But mainly it's people in business for locally in Atlanta certainly can be invited to attend.
Sure, without a doubt.
And so probably the best call to action is they can go to Pro Business Channel. They can go to richhartshow.com. They can go to your website. What's your website?
Website is richhart.com. You can go there. We'll have some blurbs on there. We're also going to go to, you can actually send us emails at rich@richhart.com, imagine that, or rich@avaluecore.com, because it's the Rich Hart Global and Value Core Institute, all right, our home location. You can also reach us by phone, all right, 888-966-0878, or Rich likes this one. Rich and Mike like this. Or the new number, all right, ready? 404-400-HART, H-A-R-T. I got my own number. Isn't that cool? We have our own number. We have our own music. And
one day when I grow up,
cool.
I'm going to have all that. Yeah.
I don't even want to grow up, okay? Yeah. I don't even grow up on me. But here it is. Right. Reach us at any time. You got the information out there.
Absolutely. So we'll take care of that on that end. So gentlemen, it's officially wrap time here. So thanks for being here.
Guys, thank you very much for joining me today.
It was our pleasure.
Cool.
Thanks for the invite.
This is cool. Really cool. But hey, reach out to us, Rich Hart Global, at 404-400-HART or 4278 if you have a hard time getting that number through.
And just remember to focus.
Focus, babe. All right, first
opportunity. See you all next time.
Unlimited success. Thank you.
See ya.
Thank you again for joining us and our guests on The Rich Hart Show. Use the social media links here to share today's show, and stay tuned for the next episode of The Rich Hart Show, brought to you in part by Rich Hart Global Incorporated and the AvalueCore Institute. For more information and to connect with the show host and sponsors, visit richhart.com or email us at rich@richhart.com.